If I sound pissed off right now, it's because I am. I spent the whole effing week working at Evil Corp. All week long, and every day that I was there, I was incredibly more miserable than the next. Then, on top of all of that, I still have to make these stupid videos every day. Believe me, I don't want to be doing this anymore. After spending all day in a place that you hate, the last thing you want to do is come home and do this because you don't make enough money. And I am beside myself with anger. The soul crushing nature combined with the low pay, your coworkers that are completely demoralized. That was what I saw this morning in the meeting. No one in that meeting cared about anything at work anymore. And you know why that is? Because we're not getting another raise. And if they do somehow realize that productivity is diminishing daily, everyone has disdain for the workplace right now. No one wants to be there. Everyone is showing up with the same attitude. We don't want to be here anymore. We don't care about your company. We don't care about our jobs. We don't care if this place goes under. Everything about the job economy right now sucks. No one can sugarcoat that. It's taking months to find any job. I've been on Indeed for what, 6 months now with zero calls back, zero emails, and seeing the same jobs posted over and over again, meaning they're not hiring. And that means if you can't find a job that pays you at least $50 an hour, you're not making it. And it's getting pathetic. I'm going to read you guys the script for today. And this script is, it was tweaked. I was working on it in the last 30 minutes, but it came from this comment. And it's just absolutely ridiculous that this comment is what triggered this entitled um, entitled segment. So the comment was endless toil for no reward. That was the comment. And they asked me to make that video as my next video. So I put that in. I asked ChatGPT to suggest titles that came up with paycheck to paycheck. And this is what it wrote. And listen to this script because this is another ChatGPT special. They tell you to work hard, that you'll get better, that it will get better. No one tells you what to do when it doesn't. When you're working harder than ever and all you have to show for it is exhaustion and an empty bank account. That's exactly what I have right now. I'm exhausted from working at Evil Corp. I'm angry from working at Evil Corp. And when I have to talk to my coworkers and they have this mentality, it's never going to get any better and I can't find a better job. That's everyone across the board. No matter where you're at, the buying power of $100,000 right now is absolute garbage. How you people out there are living off $40,000 or $50,000, it astonishes me. I mean, you're literally wasting 50 to 60% of your income just to just to live indoors. And what makes me even more angry is that they've told you, the same people that don't want to see you as a poor person because you're invisible as a poor person, they don't want you being homeless either. Yet they've created the perfect environment. My state right now is on record to have the most evictions of any year ever. It's approaching 100,000 evictions. That's not 100,000 people. That's 100,000 families that are being thrown out onto the street where they're told they're not allowed to live. So, if you're a person that's working full time and living in your car, what can you really say about a society that condones this sort of behavior? All day long, I watched every YouTuber that I could to try to understand this, and ChatGPT keeps creating the same script. No matter what junk I put in there, no matter what video I put in there, it makes the same video. How can that possibly be? Let's get into talking point number two before I lose my you know what. So, And this one, it named itself Ellie for some reason. My name's Ellie, and I live paycheck to paycheck. I'm 26, no savings, no safety net, just me, a crappy job, and bills that pile up faster than I can pay them. I love how the AI always gives itself a name. In the in the script that I wrote before this, it actually called itself Maya. And the opening scenes also depict nearly the identical room, which you guys are probably going to see in the background because it likes using that opening scene in order to generate the AI background. So this is what it wrote down for the place where this is taking place. Dark apartment, single overhead bulb flickering. A young woman in her mid 20s slouched on a secondhand couch, holds a mug of instant coffee. She looks directly at the camera. It nailed it. The flickering light bulb, the instant coffee. She's not holding a caramel macchiato from Starbucks. She doesn't have amazing lighting coming in from her large windows that overlook the ocean. She's sitting in a place like this. The only thing ChatGPT missed here is oh my God, my infestation of cockroaches. Last night I woke up, I walked into the kitchen, I swear to God, there was 100 cockroaches in every direction. It was despicable. This morning I got up and I was walking towards the kitchen. There was one right at eye level hanging off the wall saying, "Good morning, Millennial Steam." I was so pissed off, I punched him right in the face. And then I had to go wash my hands because now I had roach guts all over my fists. But with that said, let's get into our next talking point here, or next part of the story. These aren't even talking points. I got two jobs. One at a cafe where customers don't even look at you in the eye, and another answering phones at a company that doesn't care if I drop dead tomorrow. And still, it never is enough. Rent's due, groceries cost more every day, and I don't even get me started on gas. The whole idea of having to pay for transportation to go to a place that you don't want to, that doesn't pay you enough, just drives me nuts. There was a woman who dropped a comment that my last video gave her PTSD because she understood what it's like to spend half your paycheck in order to get to work every day. You have to Uber to work every day because you don't have 2.5 hours to spend on a city bus to get to a minimum wage job. And I consider every job under $20 to be minimum wage. Let's just put it out there. If you're in the minimum wage right now and you're trying to make a life on $2,000 a month, but the price of life is twice that, what are you really doing? Why even work? The epic, what's it? Oh God, I'm so angry. It's I think it's Epic Gamer or the Economist Gamer. His message every single day in every single one of his videos is don't work. Do anything but work. If you have to stand outside at a kissing booth, or if you have to stand outside wagging your rear end in the wind, do anything but work. Because the more people stop working, the more they'll have to reconsider, well, what's wrong? What's wrong with my toxic piece of crap job that makes people puke and have stomach aches? Why won't anyone work here? That's the question you can ask the Krogers. As every single day that I come in there, there's another new person that's not going to be there tomorrow. When I worked at Walmart, it was more common than not for workers to come in and be there for a couple of hours and say, I'm not going to do this. I am not going to humiliate myself for the minimum wage. And today, while I was driving home, there was a couple of Chick-fil-A employees on the corner holding a sign, and the other one was dancing. You're talking about people dancing on a street corner for minimum wage. On the other side of the street, there's a guy holding an arrow that's out there, and he's out there year round. It's not just Arizona in the winter. That dude is out there when it's 110 degrees outside holding a sign, jumping up and down for the minimum wage. We're all jumping up and down for the minimum wage, regardless of where you're working, because no one's comfortable. Even the management starting to realize it's like, how are we supposed to run a business with people who don't want to work here? But that's what they're left with, because who else is going to do those jobs other than the most desperate piece of crap people that you don't want to hire? Moving on. You know what's wild? I thought this was just temporary. That once I finished school, got a job, and worked hard, life would click. But here I am, 5 years out of college, still broke, still tired, and still wondering how I'm going to make it to my next paycheck. I had to take a hard look at what I had left in my bank account this morning because I was beginning to wonder whether or not I was going to make it to my next paycheck without going completely broke. There's a chance, but I've only got enough to last me till next Thursday. And this is exactly what I thought when I graduated in 2017. There's no way that a person with 4 college degrees is going to be broke ever again. And I've never been able to find a job. And you're like, how is that possible? I was listening to that fool Jack Morgan today in the office because I was bored out of my mind. I don't know why people watch that guy. Honestly, the things he says, he lost me today when he told someone or was talking about a TikToker that he was making fun of that the you can go get a job right now on Craigslist. That was his thing. He kept coming back to how can anyone watch that one someone that stupid? You know what's on Craigslist? Garbage, trash. Craigslist is the rear end of the internet and it has been for years. I know. That's where I've gone to find my housing for the last 20 years. And all you find there are slumlords and crackheads. That's the only thing that's there. When it comes to jobs, I found one of the most toxic jobs I've ever had in my entire life. And I only stayed for a few months because they realized that I wasn't like them. It was a scammer. I don't even know what to call it. It's like a scammer den where they sold a phony piece of software to people who should have known better. And you had to take these phone calls from people who were like, is this a scammer? I mean, look at what you bought and look at who sold it to you. You got scammed. That's why you paid thousands of dollars for the scam. And now you're going to call the place where I'm working at, where I have to answer the phone and tell you it's not a scam when we both understand that it's a scam. But that's a Craigslist job. It's the worst of the worst place if you want to advertise a legitimate job. All right, moving on. People like to say, why don't you just save more? Save what exactly? The 275 I've got left over after rent and bills, or maybe they mean the time I don't have because I'm working 60 hours a week to keep my head above water. This is something that Gen Zero tells me every single day. Every day I have to hear the same thing from my own broke worker. Gotta go home, millennials team. All I can afford is 1 cup of ramen every day for lunch. And I'm just like, oh my God. This person literally has to eat ramen every single day because they make less than $20 an hour. And they have all the same bills that I have, that car payment, that high rent that just went up, and parents who are completely don't understand. You know, parents are boomers because he got raised by older people, but they just don't understand why he's not trying hard enough. And that's really what it comes down to, those people that tell you to get a better job. You're just not trying hard enough. I spent my entire life working minimum wage jobs, but I wasn't trying hard enough. I spent half my life going to university, but I still wasn't trying enough. I got out of university and all that avocado toast and all those Starbucks that I bought while working for Walmart, I still wasn't trying hard enough. And when management looks at you, even my own current boss, it's like you're the biggest piece of crap if you can't make it on what we're paying you. And then you look over at the list, the endless list of thousands of people that have had to leave this company since I've worked there. Thousands of them. Because they get hired on with the dream that you're going to do something at this job. And it's every job in America has to sell you on the job, right? That's why you have those motivational, posters in the back of every business. When I worked at the call center, they had them on the walls. So every time you walked into the building, you had to look at the motivational posters and their company mission statement. Everything about this marketing campaign to trick the workers into believing that they weren't trapped was absolutely ridiculous. And sometimes I'd sit there and I'd point at these messages on the walls and I'd look at my coworkers and say, "Do you really buy into this garbage?" And they'd look at me like, "Millennial Steam, your attitude sucks." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, so you do buy into this." And because I'm telling you that it's stupid for you to believe that I'm the bad guy. You're always the bad guy when you show up at a corporation and you're not there to embrace every stupid thing that they tell you, including that this is a livable wage. So, moving on. And then you go online and see people living these perfect lives, vacationing, fancy dinners, new cars. Meanwhile, I'm here celebrating the fact that I finally bought fresh produce for the first time in the past month. Oh my God. They were asking for donations at work from the employees, right? They put up all these posters around the office about how it's our responsibility to donate food and other items to the church this year because there are people who are less fortunate. One of the items on that list they specifically asked for was spam, canned meat. And I thought to myself, look at the faces of your employees. Are these the people that you're asking to donate to the less fortunate? Because what you're doing is you're asking your employees to donate to themselves. Because these are the same people that don't have food, that can't afford toothpaste, that can't afford to celebrate Christmas, that are going to spend their holidays wondering how they're going to make it next year. Because next year, from every economist that I've seen on YouTube in the past few months, next year is going to be ridiculously hard. No pay raises in 2024, and 2025 is going to be a year that will obliterate the polls. You think times are hard right now? Wait until they start implementing some of these things that aren't meant to help you. Nothing in the next year is meant to help you. Businesses are going under because people don't have money, and that translates to more and more people losing their jobs. And because the corporations are shrinking up, they're tightening up because they know that in order to create the same profits, they're going to have to do it with less employees. Not less work, just less employees. That means less of you, proletariat. And that's going to mean that you're going to have to work a lot harder just to find a job to be poor at. Not a job to thrive at, but a job to be poor at. A job where you're going to come in every day, and regardless of how hard you work, you're not going to be able to make it. The harder you grind, the more Evil Corp works, and the less energy that you have at the end of the day, or you're going to come home irate like I am. Because instead of getting to enjoy my weekend, I have to make content all weekend, and I can't come out here and make that content sounding like the last angry man. Some people like it. I don't like being in a mood like this. But having to come straight home from Evil Corp and pretend that I'm all happy to be on YouTube, I'm not. The fact that I'm barely going to make it to my next paycheck, that's another kick in the boys. And having to endure another day with practically nothing to eat in the fridge, and a lot a lot of that because I don't want the roaches eating my food. The roaches get into everything in my refrigerator. I found cockroaches in every piece of food that I keep in the refrigerator. Anything that they can get into, they get into. They get into the bottles of water. I've seen them come out of the products in my bathroom. I'll wake up in the morning, I'll walk in there, and I'll look at my toner bottle, and there'll be this huge roach coming out of it, like, hey man, keep it down out here. I'm still trying to sleep. That's the audacity the roaches have. It's like, what are you doing? I'm eating here. You're like, oh my God. It's awful. And so I'm going to read my last talking point because there's so many of them. Let's see here. I know I'm not alone. I know there are millions of us out there living paycheck to paycheck, fighting just to survive. And the worst part is they've convinced us that this is normal. That struggling every single day is just the price of being alive. What have I said on this channel for months? I will not let them normalize this. We're not alive. We're not thriving. This system is disgusting and it's intentional. And you can't convince people that just staying alive is being alive because it shouldn't be this hard to stay alive. But when you look at what they're willing to pay, they're willing to cut benefits, increase hours, and expect you to work more for free because they want you to be grateful to the job creators for giving you the opportunity to live a subpar life where the overall quality of it is it's a good day when you get to eat twice a day for the proletariat. It's a bad day when you get paid because you realize that the paycheck's worthless. But at the end of the day, it's just you, your paycheck, and looking at yourself in the mirror. What are you going to do about it? That's all you have to ask yourself. If you're just going to put your head down and let fleece take you again, well, then you're a good boy. And that's what the job creators want you to do.